How you doing? After a long day of arguing with Sith Lords and battling with mutants with claws and hanging out with friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, I like to come home and kick back and sit back and relax in my comfy chair and pull out a Trepacer pipe. Just kick back and relax and smoke it. It has all the tobacco flavor with none of the tobacco. And I like to clean it out with a nice cloth and kick back and watch some of my favorite fellow YouTubers, Falkaball, FK Blogs, Falagar 517, The Joker 5150, DVD Collector 1974, and just kick back and appreciate life. But thanks to my Trepacer pipe, it makes everything better. Look it up, Trepacer pipes. Okay, just go to one of my webpage and you'll see it there for free to order. It's very reasonable, and I like it. Take care. So long and take care. Hi, this is Trepacer. It's Saturday, so I'm going to continue my tradition of reviewing 2 movies. I went to the movies today and I saw 2 movies. I have my 2 receipts here, or ticket stubs. The first movie I saw was Sabotage, the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. There you go. You can see that. Yep, nice and clear. Sabotage. So that, and I'll get to the second movie later, but first talk about Sabotage, the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. Again, this one has an impressive cast in it, and basically it's a story about an elite DEA task force who basically, like you said, you've seen the trailer, you see, they're the elite of the elite. They take down bad guys, and all of a sudden, and they, like I said, this is not a spoiler because this is in the trailer. They decide to steal $10 million from a drug stash. Okay, and of course, after that, members of their team start getting picked off, one at a time. And okay, this movie stars, besides Arnold Schwarzenegger, it stars also Sam Worthington, Joe Magliano, Josh Holloway, Terrence Howard, Max Martini. You have what's her name? The English chick, Martin Donovan. You have who else is in this besides Terrence Howard? You have what's the guy's? I can't remember the chick's name. Olivia Williams. I'm sorry, and Harold Pernaud. And basically, like I said, this is an elite of the elite DEA team, and they basically decide to rip off in a drug stash. They decide to go all in and rip off, from the stash, $10 million from this drug stash, from this drug house that they hit. Okay, and of course, when they hit it, and they steal the money and kind of try to cover their tracks by blowing up the rest of the money. What winds up happening is that the $10 million that they stole automatically disappears, and of course their team gets investigated for a period of about 6 months. I think they say about 6 months. The team gets investigated, to follow, because apparently this house was under surveillance, and they knew they were, and somehow they knew that their boss, Arnold's boss, they knew that after they came in that $10 million more or less was missing. So they basically put Arnold and his team, they basically bust them up, and they put Arnold, who was in charge of the team, they put him under surveillance basically for 6 months to try to find out where the missing money is. And of course, after a period of 6 months, and Arnold Schwarzenegger's character is named John Breacher Wharton, that's his name. And like I said, Sam Worthington is part of his team. Joe Magliano, Josh Holloway, Terrence Howard, and I think they have a female. I forgot the lady that was in World War Z, who played Brad Pitt's wife. She's part of the team as well. Okay, and like I said, the team gets busted up. After 6 months, after not finding the money, they basically give him his badge back and tell him, they take him off desk duty, Arnold Schwarzenegger's character, and tell him, you can put your team back together. Of course, so they put him back together. And of course, like I said, the money is still missing, and they don't know who did it amongst it. And then until all of a sudden, members of the team. Sort of like I heard somebody describe it as sort of like, Agatha Christie's 10 Little Indians, where people start dying one by one. That's what starts happening to Arnold's team. And people start getting killed off. So of course, that brings in Olivia Williams and Harold Perrineau. They play detectives, homicide detectives, who start investigating this to try to find out, who's killing this DEA team, and for the money, and find out what's happening. And of course, Arnold's team is hesitant, of course, until people start getting killed, and they still kind of try to keep it close to the vest and don't want to cooperate with her. And let me just say, this movie, despite the cast, I mean, this is an impressive cast. I mean, you got Arnold Schwarzenegger, you got Sam Worthington, you got Olivia Williams, Josh Holloway, Harold Perrineau, you got Terrence Howard, but Martin Donovan's in this. But the script doesn't live up to the stars. Let me see. I was trying to follow this movie, and I was with it, but there's a couple of twists in it, and a couple of things that don't make sense at all without spoiling it. Okay, but the script is just very weak. Okay, and another thing, I give Arnold credit for trying to do something more than this standard, standard action movie, but Arnold's not the guy for a kind of a heavy drama plot. And this plot, like I said, has action and stuff in it, but this also has a heavy kind of a dramatic thing. And Arnold's not. He's just not the actor for that. Okay, and like I said, the movie is okay, entertaining, but the script is very weak, and a lot of the twists and turns you don't see coming. And then when the twists come, I scratch my head and goes, I don't believe it. No, it's just some parts of this movie just not believable at all, and the script is just very weak. Okay, despite the great cast, the cast does the best they could with the script, but it's just a weak script, and the way it ends is, okay. So I'm gonna have to give this movie a 6.5. Okay, it's below average to me. I mean, like I said, the actors do the best they can, but the story is just very weak. It does them no favors. And despite the great, I mean, they have a great cast of good actors, and like I said, they do the best they can, but the story is just weak, and it doesn't make sense to me. Okay, so I'm gonna have to give this 6.5. And out of all the 3 movies, I think that I think he made 3, maybe 4 movies since he came back. I would have to rate it Escape Plan, the top one, then The Last Stand, and then this movie. It's just a weak script, kind of lets down the actors, and a lot of things that don't make sense, and things that happen don't make sense in this movie. So I'm going to give it a 6.5. Okay, just wait for it to come on video. You don't have to waste your time going to see it. I thought it was going to be good. I'm a big Arnold fan, but this movie it just disappointed me. Okay, now the second movie that I saw, was the sequel to a movie that I saw last year. Video I reviewed on my Trepacer Saturday reviews, and this is The Raid 2. Okay, there it is, The Raid 2. You can see that. Yeah, The Raid 2. There it is. The Raid 2. Of course, this is a sequel, of course, to the other movie, The Raid, of course. And I love the first Raid. The first Raid was just kick-ass. It's a kick-ass movie. And it's basically about an undercover cop named Rama. Okay, and if you saw that, the original Raid, you know how that ended. With him and the other rookie cops had to go to that building, and then they had to battle their way out and stuff. And of course, then he got involved. His brother was there, and basically he had to fight his way out to survive. So this movie begins a little bit after that movie ends, and basically what happens is the cops, he thought it was over, but a cop comes, one of these undercover cops come to him and say, listen, okay, you just scratched the tip of the iceberg. Okay, there's more dirty cops out there, and we need you to go undercover, okay? We need you to go undercover and get close to the son of this big crime lord, okay? So, which means he has to, stay away from his family, and they're going to basically set him up and have him arrested and sent to prison so he can get close to this son of one of this cartel's to try to find out who is on their payroll, who else is dirty. Okay, and so he calls his wife and tells him, listen, I don't have to go away to do this work to ensure that you're safe. I have to to try to make sure we find out who the other corrupt cops are. Okay, and then he goes to prison, of course, and then he meets the son of this mobster, and he kind of basically saves his life. Okay, and so of course the guy takes him under his wing when he gets out of prison, and he goes to work for him and his father. But this son is very ambitious. He wants to move ahead. He wants to be the #1 guy, even though his father, is an older guy. Father's, he's running things, but he wants to be the man. He wants to be in charge. Okay, and he doesn't. He figures out. He tries to basically tries to start a war, so his father can retaliate and show his father. But of course, his father is a lot smarter than him and doesn't react the way he wants him to act. And this movie is intense. Let me just say this movie is just as intense as the first Raid, except like I said, the story is just a little different. Okay, in that this time when he goes undercover, like I said, he gets close to one of the son of the mob guys, and this son is crazy ambitious, and basically he wants to take over. Okay, and he feels that his pops is too cautious and too soft, and he wants to be the man. Okay, and like I said, the undercover cop Rama, this is like #1, #1 boy, and he has to, watch. He's supposed to watch his back and everything else. Meanwhile, this guy's, the son is plotting to take over and basically start a war, so he can take over and show his pops that he can be in charge right now, basically. And that's the basic plot of the movie. Rama trying to gather intel to find out who the other dirty cops are, and then also at the same time keep track of of these mobsters that he's working for. Okay, and try to get enough evidence, and at the same time, this is war brewing between these two factions, and he's caught in the middle. Okay, and it's an intense, great action movie. I'm telling you, this movie has some of the same great fights that you saw in the first one are in this one as well. And there's 2 characters in this movie that I absolutely love. Okay, one, I guess, for lack of a better word, I'll call him baseball Batman. Okay, and Hammer Girl. Okay, they are 2 of the greatest characters in this movie ever. Just the level of fighting in this movie, is just, oh my God, just love the action sequences, and the fights are absolutely good. And there's also a great, one of the best car chase sequences I've ever seen. Okay, just absolutely fantastic stunt work in this movie. And this movie, oh my God, this movie is 2 hours and 30 minutes. Okay, but it doesn't feel like it. It doesn't drag out or doesn't feel like it's slow or anything. Everything moves in the movie and it makes sense. And like I said, it has the basic plot, basically of the undercover cop getting close to the mobster son, and then the son, of course, being overly ambitious and wanting to take over, and basically what he does to try to take over. And it's just an intense action movie, and every fight you're like this, just watch, just checking out the fight sequences, which are absolutely fantastic. And like I said, Batman, I guess, and Hammer Girl are just fantastic. Okay, they're a team, and they are absolutely fantastic. The level of violence that you see them inflict is absolutely fantastic. And of course, Rama, the actor who plays Rama, is great. He has a couple of, well, not a couple, he has a few fight scenes, and there's especially a fight scene in the kitchen. The fight scene in the kitchen, and a fight scene with him fighting Hammer Girl and Batman, which you got to see. Oh my God, this movie is absolutely fantastic. Oh my God, the fights are just incredible. It had a nice plot and good acting from the actors involved in this. Great stunt work, and I'm gonna give this movie The Raid 2. I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10. It was that good to me. Just fantastic. The action, oh, Oh, just fantastic. And like I said, every time you saw the fights, you were like up there in your seat and just fantastic. People in my theater when we were watching were just, oh, we were riveted. Like I said, it was packed. And like I said, the movie's 2 hours and 30 minutes. And I was worried about that maybe it might drag in spots, but it didn't. It was fantastic. And the story made sense. And the fights were incredible. And I'm looking forward, hopefully they'll make a part 3 to The Raid. That would be great. And I absolutely love this movie. I definitely highly recommend it. It's 2 thumbs up. Okay, again, it gets a 9 out of 10 for me. Okay, one of the best sequels to a movie ever, and it makes sense. Okay, and anyway, let me know what you think of these 2 movies that I've reviewed. Feel free to leave comments down below. And this is Trepacer saying so long and take care.